It's time to do better. Beacon's Be Better Group Health Plan now offers new and improved options that make health insurance affordable for small to medium businesses. Good medical cover gives you a competitive edge and takes care of the people that take care of your business. Get a better plan to build a better business. Call Beacon or log on to beacon.co.tt for more info today.
Gas prices got you down? Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a e-bike today and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent a e-bike.
Good morning, clubbers, and of course, welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Club. Now, this morning, I am so grateful. I am grateful for the blessings that Papa God continues to bestow upon me. I am grateful that my family weathered the hurricane in the United States and that everybody is okay, everybody's alive. You know, I'm grateful for so many different things. I'm grateful for the opportunities that lie ahead. And, you know, every day I'm discovering how much the cost of living has changed. And I'm not just talking about Grenada, I'm talking about the world over. The cost of living has changed. And this platform has allowed me to meet a lot of people. And a lot of people exchange, conversations with me, not necessarily during the live, but sometimes they reach out to me after the program. And there are a lot of people struggling. There are a lot of people struggling, needing financial help. Some people complain to me about, not having work. Some people complain to me about not being able to put food on the table. There are people that complain to me about not being able to have the resources to send their children to school. And there's so much happening, within Grenada and the world at large that, we definitely have to be concerned, but we also have to thank Papa God for his blessings. It is still goodness gracious Grenada. We still live in paradise. And yes, people are struggling, but listen, if you're really paying attention to the news and you're looking at what's happening in the world, you know that you still have to be grateful. Remember to give Papa God thanks, okay? And always remember that a better day is coming. Now listen, we have a fantastic show in store for you today. I'm going to be chatting with, of course, another phenomenal Grenadian. We like to celebrate positive people making their mark on the world, and especially with the Grenadians, it's all about, because listen, we have Grenadians doing great things out there, but some of all you're only studying to fight over yellow and green, when there's so much goodness out there in the world. And I love to coin the phrase, goodness gracious Grenada. So this morning, we're going to be chatting with Rachel Charles. And let me tell you about Rachel Charles. Rachel Charles has over 25 years experience within the UK's criminal justice system, focusing on public protection, equality and diversity, child safeguarding, domestic abuse, and a trauma-informed approach to youth gang work. Rachel is a mental health first aider who recently relaunched a business and is now self-employed. She's a life coach and consultant. And listen, I talk about all them things that we're hearing about. We're hearing about justice. We're hearing about equality, diversity. We're facing it right here. Child safeguarding is a big issue in Grenada right now. Domestic abuse has always been, and sometimes we don't like to talk about it. Okay, the trauma that people are dealing with, and of course, mental health. Because yesterday was Mental Health Day, So listen, we have a great program in store for you this morning. Pull up a chair. I know you have options. I know you have choices, but this is the place to be this morning. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be chatting about what irks Kirk, and then we're going to dive deep into a conversation with Miss Rachel Charles. We'll be right back.
Today. Located inside Ryder Excursion at the Esplanade Mall, we handle both small and large orders with speed and precision. For fast, quality t-shirt printing, call Instaprint at 473-422-1011. Get your perfect print today at Instaprint. Printing done in an instant.
Welcome back. And of course, this segment is called What Irks Kirk. And remember, I tell you, what irks me doesn't necessarily have to be negative. Even though a lot of you just write me personally and tell me all they like when I get on, or they like the bacchanal. Well, today is not about bacchanal. Today is about educating you, educating me on an issue that is becoming very prevalent in the Grenadian society. And we're talking about mental health. And yesterday on Facebook, I gave some tips, and I'm going to give the tips here now. Now, you may have a friend who is going through a mental health crisis. You may not even know if you have a friend going through a mental health crisis. But what I want to encourage you to do, and just give you a few tips, you need to be able to listen actively. And when I say listen actively, you know, some of us, we listening, but we formulating what we want to say. We're not really listening, okay? You need to listen actively without interrupting and without judgment. And I know that's hard for some of you, okay? Some people call all you, they want to tell all you the problem, they want to tell all you their business, they want to confide, they're looking for a friend, but they can't do it because you're very judgmental in the process. You have to cut that out, you know? Sometimes you need to check in on people. I always encourage you to pick up the phone and check on a friend. You know, people need to know that there are people out there that they can count on. So I want to encourage you to check on people frequently, you know, and offer practical help. Sometimes people just need you. They're going through stuff. They probably just need you to run an errand for them. You know, they just need you probably to cook a meal. You know, remember the days when you used to bake something and you would carry a plate over for your neighbor, or you bake a sweet bread and you drop one for a friend? We need to go back to those days. We need, you see the selfish realm that take over society? It is doing us an injustice. It's like we no longer love each other, you know. It's only take. We got to go back to those days. You know, we really have to go back to those days. Now, sometimes you might have to encourage people to seek professional help, because sometimes you have to know how much you could do, and you have to be able to look for the signs and to understand when people need to take it further, when they probably need to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, because you don't have the tools to help. You know, you have to gently broach the subject with them, though. And you also have to be patient. Healing takes time. Okay, somebody comes by you, they have a problem, you give them advice, and you expect them to take the advice, bam. And because a week after you see them still struggling, or 2 weeks after you see them still struggling, you want to vex and give them more stress in their life because you want to tell people how quickly they should heal. All you have to stop that. Respect people's boundaries. I know that is something, it's foreign to some of all you. Sometimes some people are not ready to talk. You have to respect people's boundaries, but they need to know that you are there for them. Okay? And listen, sometimes your actions all during the year, sometimes you're doing things that the people realize they can't trust you, you know, because they tell you something, and before they tell you it, everybody know about it. So sometimes you have to understand the way you live and the way you behave over a period of time tells people who you are. Okay? You need to educate yourself. Okay? And with yesterday being Mental Health Day, I think most people should, you know how you're Googling how to put on makeup and you're Googling everything else? Google things that will empower you now and empower the people around you, your children, Find out what's going on with mental health, what mental health is, what signs to look out for. Educate yourself. The internet there, you know, and it's a good tool. It's just how we use the tool. And I want to encourage you to be honest about your limitations. I try to be as honest as I can about my limitations. You know, when people calling me, you know, yesterday I had 2 phone calls with 2 people looking for financial help. I help where I can, but I have to also understand my limitations. Because let me tell you something, when you're not able to help people that really need help, it could take a toll on your own mental health. Sometimes somebody calls me and they have their problem, and I have to, when I am finished with the conversation, I am left feeling terrible. I am left feeling hopeless. I am left feeling sad because not all the time I could help. So I also have to understand my limitations and my boundaries. And that's a very important aspect of mental health. And of course, I want to encourage you lastly to follow up with people and check on people. I always say, in fact, today I want you to pick up the phone and call somebody and check on them. Send a text. If you can't call them, send a text and check on somebody. That's a challenge today. Okay, it's a fantastic Friday in the Isle of Spice. Check on somebody today. And of course, before I go, to the queens out there, this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I hope you're checking on your sisters. I hope you're doing your own examinations, that you're encouraging your sisters to do their examinations. We used to love each other, you know. Let me get back to the days where we really love each other and we encourage each other. Educate yourself, queens out there, on breast cancer, what you need to be aware of, what you need to look out for, and encourage your sisters to do their self-examinations. Okay? And you know, I saw a phrase somewhere. You know what you should be doing is elevating the crown on your sister's head instead of tearing it down. But sometimes that is all you know. Well, today you know something different. We are going to build each other. We have a fantastic show in store. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be chatting with Rachel Charles. And we're going to be talking more about mental health. We'll be right back.
Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a e-bike today and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent a e-bike.
Good morning, clubbers, and of course, welcome back. I want to welcome Rachel Charles to the Wake Up Club. Rachel, good morning and welcome to the Wake Up Club. Rachel?
Okay, I was still muted. Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
Listen, Rachel, this program is about celebrating positivity. You know, I'm living in a country right now where everybody just fighting over colors. Okay. And listen, I understand all of that because, you know, leadership is very important in the direction a country goes. But I like to celebrate positivity. Now, you have an impressive resume. Let me tell you. Yeah. In fact, I wish you were in Grenada right now offering all these services to our people. But I believe that a person is more than their resume. So my first question to you is, who is Rachel Charles? Tell me about your background. Tell me who, in your words, who is Rachel Charles?
I like to say that I'm a Grenadian.
Mhm.
My mother made the mistake of going into labor pains in the UK. So I was born in the UK,
Uh-huh.
unfortunately. But from the age of 3, I was always in Grenada. I went to
Okay.
preschool, primary school, secondary school, college, started working in Grenada, and spent from the age of 10, I would say one of the best 10 years of my life in
Uh-huh.
Grenada. So yeah, and the tiny parish of St. Mark's.
Okay.
Um, I started. I always was interested in how people ticked. My first job in Grenada was as a teacher at St. Rose Modern Secondary School. And then I decided to come back to the UK and then studied psychology. And from there, it just kind of exploded because the more I found out about how people behaved, why people behave as they do, that got me deeper into the criminal justice system. And I wanted to be a part of the change. How do you stop people going around in that cycle? So, like, after studying psychology, I was in the court service, and you literally just kind of say what the judge is doing and write down, the
Mhm.
sentences and that kind of thing. And I wanted to be not just parroting whatever the judge was doing, but what the judge had said and just handing over imprisonment warrants. But I wanted to be part of the change. So that's how I jumped into probation. And again, it just went from there. So I was working with people that were convicted of any and every offense, from domestic abuse to, sexual assaults to theft.
Mhm.
And then I believe that I wanted to work with people who weren't just ordered to change by a judge. I just wanted to work with anybody who
Mhm.
felt motivated to change, because sometimes we just need to make a change, maybe in our career or just something that's happening in our life. And that's how I started my training to become a life coach, and it's led me here. So all of the stuff that I've picked up from the courts, from probation, from my studies in psychology, has just led me to this part.
Okay, definitely. Now, yesterday we observed World Mental Health Day around the world. So my first question to you, because you're in the system, and let me tell you something, service and that type of service is very rare. It takes a rare individual to be able to offer and to put themselves in that sort of area that you're dealing with, a life coach, counseling, listening to people and their problems, giving advice, trying to help broken people. What does mental health mean to you?
So I think the first thing is definitions are very important.
Mhm.
So a lot of the times we might hear people say, "Oh, he have mental problems," or he have mental health. We all have mental health.
Mhm.
And it's sometimes we might have poor mental health or mental health issues, or we might have positive and good mental health, but we're all on a continuum. So even if you might be experiencing good mental health today, you're in a space where you feel really good. Tomorrow it could be very different. And in that continuum, there's different things. It might be that your mental health might be just low mood, and you just might need time to figure out what's going on in your life. Or it might be on the whole other end of the spectrum, where you might need medical health, and maybe a doctor or something prescribed to you to help.
Okay. Now, listen, I hope you will understand this part of it. Um, I grew up in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, and as an adult, what I find myself facing, stuff that I probably didn't hear about before, is that, I work with a lot of young people, um, and a lot of them have anxiety, they have mental health issues. And I am asking myself, is this a new phenomenon that has taken over Grenada and the Caribbean? Or did our parents ignore these signs? Have we let a lot of our young people slip through the cracks because we were ignorant of mental health issue? Because we used to look down on a person who you hear going and see a psychiatrist, or who's
Yeah.
seen a psychologist. The thing for us as Caribbean people, put them in the madhouse. You know,
Hmm.
I have to ask the question, have we let our people slip through the crack? Or is it a new phenomenon? The pressures of the world Are we seeing more people suffering with anxiety and depression and mental health issues now? I know it's a loaded question because I asked about 50 questions, but it's a discussion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think it is possible that there's more, but it's always been there. I think
Mhm.
we don't understand what mental health looks like, what poor mental health looks like, or what to do with it. And I think especially when it comes to parents, none of us have a manual when it comes to raising our kids. And you have to do everything when it comes to this child. And then they may be behaving in a particular way. You don't understand what it is, and we just don't have the tools to deal with it. So a lot of the times we might say, oh, they're just behaving bad, or they're rude, or I mean, one of the things, and this is something that we spoke about earlier, was if you have somebody, you have a child who is behaving in a particular way, they may be misbehaving in class, we would say, it's too lashy once, when you need to find out, why is this child misbehaving, what are you calling misbehaving? A lot of the times you might see a child acting up, and they are looking for attention, and they don't have the language skills, because, to be fair, we don't communicate properly. We're not a people who really sit down and say, okay, tell me how you're feeling. It's always, oh, you ain't do it like that, da, 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 da. And we talk at people rather than talk with them and try to find out how they're feeling. A lot of us were brought up in situations where we have to just be told what to do, and if we don't do it, then we're rude. But we're not looking at the trauma that many kids have gone through. I mean, if you're thinking about, sometimes I grew up in Grenada, and there are times where you will see people being beaten in the street. You will see people just brandishing cutlasses. You might hear screams in the early morning, and I laugh about it with my kids, because I say sometimes, you might hear, oh God, and then you realize somebody's died. But that's grief that people don't even know how to communicate, or how to deal with. And kids are absorbing all of this. I'm talking about kids, but it's all of us, because at the end of the day, we grow up into adults and we still don't know how to deal with it. But kids are absorbing all of this. Parents just want them to do their chores, go to school, get good grades. It might not be happening, and then the parents don't know what to do. And rather than looking at, are they scared about something, are they sad about something, do they fit in, they're going into adolescent years, what does that look like, are they being accosted on the road by older people, what does that feel like? Your body is changing, there's all these different things that happen. And the kids might not be doing what you want them to do, but we're not sitting down and looking at, okay, what do you need, how can I help you? And sadly, it's because we don't always have the tools, we don't know what to do. So if the child did turn around and say, oh, this is happening, the parent, as parents, we like to think that we know everything. We don't. And then what do you do when this child does something, and then
Mhm.
do the authorities help? What kind of help are you going to get if you do go to the authorities, or who do you call to get it?
Mhm.
And like you said in your segment before, your business might be out on the street if you do go to those authorities, because and that's happened. There's people that have come into my inbox and said, I'm going through this situation, I'm going through that situation, and they're scared to go to the authorities because it's going to be everywhere.
Definitely.
So
Now, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, because you also, part of your question was, has it gotten worse? I think there is cause to believe that it has gotten worse. If you think about that episode we had a couple of years ago where we were all kind of shut in our homes, that too has compounded, I think, a lot of the issues that people are going through, because there's still people who are scared of what can happen for their health, for their emotions, when it comes to their jobs. So I would say that there's been, and all of the stresses and pressures that we have today that probably may not have affected our people 50 or so years ago, it probably means that there are more instances of poor mental health, but what hasn't changed is our inability to help people. That's what hasn't changed.
Yeah. And I mean to say, I know there are signs. I remember, and you mentioned it, a lot of us don't have the tools to deal with
Yeah.
it. Because, and I see it still happening today within the school system. There are a lot of children who might be, how do I say it? I don't want to say misbehaving, because that has a negative
Yeah.
connotation to it. But need help,
Yeah.
and they might be lashing out in class. They may not be attentive in class. And what typically happens is these are the children that the teacher will put at the back of the class, and
Or even worse. Yeah.
which makes it worse because these are the children that need that attention and support. So I think that, as we're discussing mental health, a lot of us have to, I know we love to say in the Caribbean, it's not in my job description, but the truth and the fact, it is in your job description. I always say the first job description you got was from Papa God, and that was to love your neighbor as yourself. So it is very important for people looking at this program today to understand what mental health is, some of the signs, and how to deal with it. So I'm going to ask you as a professional, what are some of the signs I should be looking for?
Can I just say something before we go into that?
Go ahead. Yes.
Is we also have to know our remit. There are some of us and I'm trying to say this nicely, but I mean, we all went to school and we all know that there were teachers who were overly harsh.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, sometimes people go into these kind of professions, they literally do not like people. So I don't even know why they go into those professions.
True.
And they go into it and it's more about power and control rather than helping and nurturing. And that's what we need as we grow. And it's about, I am telling you, and and there is no space for these kids. And we say acting up, we say misbehaving, because maybe they might do things that is acting up and misbehaving, and they do things you think, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
But the reflex for many people in those professions is to punish when that's not what's needed. And if you look at that, that's where it's easy for those kids to go from, when they talk about the education, the school to prison pipeline, it's easy because they've come to realize that if I do this, the attention that they're going to get, even though it's negative attention, they're getting that attention anyway. And that's sometimes all they want. And so, yeah, sometimes we have to, even if we're people, I think I've gone through my career, and I am the kind of person, even growing up, before I got into this career, I was a person who my friends would come to me and say, oh, I have this problem, help me with this. And I was always that friend to help. But I'm also not the person for everyone. So there are times where I might see somebody, for example, you might see somebody who says something on Facebook and you think, oh, that's a little bit disturbing. And, they're saying that, although I'm seeing it, you might be in my friends list. It may not be my place to tell you and come into your inbox and say, Kirk, what's going on? I might need to find somebody who's closer to you to say, you know what, I noticed Kirk said something. And I've done that so many times when I think it's probably not my place, because you might not open up to me. You might not know me in that way. But if I know that there's somebody closer to the person, I would say, I noticed this. Maybe it's not anything, but just find out if they're okay. That is your brethren. You find out, and sometimes it's that. So we also have to know, the limits to what our skills are. If we are that kind of person who's just like, just do it, we are probably not the person to go and sit down with somebody who needs somebody who will have the time, the understanding, the patience to help them through it. Because as you were saying earlier as well, when people get into this kind of rut, sometimes it might be anxiety and stress or depression. They didn't just get into it overnight, so they're not going to come out of it overnight either. So, know your limits, and don't think that just because you might pop out to something easily, that somebody else is going to pop out of it as well. Sorry, I'm taking it into a whole different...
No. That's the direction we need to go.
Because the other thing as well is, myself and you could sit down and look at the exact same thing. I could react differently to it. You could have a totally different reaction. I might look at it and think, oh, okay. You might look at it and it's on your mind for weeks. So a lot of the time as well, when somebody's saying, oh, I'm going to go and help her, or I'm going to speak to her or him or whatever it is, we are thinking, we're going to talk to them and they're going to get out of it because I went through the same thing and I got out of it. We are not the same. just because, and like I said, you can look at the exact same thing and be affected by it differently because our resilience is different. Our tolerance levels are different. We've all been through different things that will make us react to things differently as well. So we have to be aware of that as well. And if you're speaking to somebody, sometimes you are speaking to someone and you just think, oh, geez, we're back again. Months later, years later, we're still in the same thing. It might be that you need to come out of that space and let somebody else, do it like a relay team. Okay, I've done my stint. Let somebody else go in and do their part now, and then you come in when it's needed, because it can be draining for you as well, and then start affecting your mental health.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But what are some of the common signs I should be looking for in a friend who might be going through something and I don't know because they don't tell me?
Yeah.
What would you say in your experience?
I would say that you know your friend. So as long as the behavior is something outside of the norm, then that's where you kind of look at, is this person okay? So the norm for and it could be on either side of the spectrum. It could be that they've suddenly become withdrawn and they're not speaking much, they're not as outgoing as they used to be. Or it could even be the other side of the coin, where all of a sudden they're just out there and it's just like, what's going on with this person? Are they, they start spinning out of control. So you need to look at, if this is a friend and you know how they usually behave, then just look at that, and there's a difference in that behavior. Then looking at it, may be that they've got a new job and they finally feel free, and so they're okay. So you just look at what is happening around this person. But if you're looking at the person and you realize, there may have been an illness, there may have been somebody has passed, they may have had a loss, they may have had the end of a relationship, and all of a sudden there's been a change, and you're looking at their mood, then that's where you could go in and say, okay, are you okay? How are you feeling? Is there anything that I could do to help? And sometimes it might not be what you think. It might be, not talking they need. It might be that they need somebody to cook them a meal just so that they could just relax for a bit and just have the space to think. Take their kids for a day or a weekend or something, just so that they have that space for themselves. Or take them to your house and say, come over for the evening, I'm cooking, just come over, so that they're around. It depends on what is happening for that person.
Definitely. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you the question that I've been, wanting to ask you, because I need help with this. Folks, you're tuned into the Wake Up Club. We take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Time to do better. Beacon's Be Better Group Health Plan now offers new and improved options that make health insurance affordable for small to medium businesses. Good medical cover gives you a competitive edge and takes care of the people that take care of your business. Get a better plan to build a better business. Call Beacon or log on to beacon.co.tt for more info today.
Good morning, clubbers. Of course, welcome back to the Wake Up Club. I'm your host, Kirk, and this morning I'm having a chat with Rachel Charles, and we're talking mental health. Rachel, welcome back to the program. Now, listen, I have this question to ask you. When I started the social media journey, and I am not there because I'm the type of person that I have to feel called to post something. I'm just not posting randomly to get in line with the likes and the views and stuff like that. But when I post, I've been posting for quite a while. Somehow people are resonating with some of the stuff that I'm talking about. So a lot of people reach out to me. And also with the start of this program, a lot of people are reaching out to me. I deal with people who call me thinking about committing suicide, people in bad relationships, people who want to get out of relationships, children that are being abused sexually. There's so many different things that comes on my plate, and my plate is already full. Now, I also know my limitations, so I know when to get the authority involved. I know when to call somebody with professional help to get them involved. But it takes a toll on me. Sometimes I leave home on a morning energized because, Papa God has said, listen, you're blessed so much. And then I get into work and I come off the phone and I can't shake the funk for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And, somebody's mental health issue can affect you.
Yeah.
And then you end up with issues. So, sometimes after I finish a conversation, I am bathing with tears.
Yeah.
Last week, the last program on Tuesday, I had a gentleman on, and when he started to pray for the things that he wanted to see change in Grenada, I had to keep hiding the tears because I was overwhelmed and consumed with so much going on. And it's probably not a question, but I guess you understand where I'm going with it. How do we deal with it? You're the expert. Because I'm telling you, sometimes it makes me snappy for the day. I'm on edge for the day, and sometimes I don't know how to balance it because I can't help everybody.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't even know what the question is, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. It can become consuming and it starts to affect me. For example, somebody calling me and telling me that they can't put food on the table, but I've just helped 3 people financially, and I'm also struggling.
And there's only so much you can do. Yeah, and you need to put food on your table too.
and then the guilt is there.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't want to get in a depression. I don't want to lock people off because I want people to, people need to feel comfortable. There are times when I was going through a lot of stress in my life, so help me.
So you are a big and lovely personality, and you have decided to put yourself out there. And what happens is when you push yourself up out there, obviously it's like that beacon on the mountaintop. People will look to you because they see you and they're going to flock to you. And that's just, that's just the reality of what happens when you put yourself out there and you have that big heart and you do it because you want to help people. But yes, you are right. It can take its toll. And if people realize that, oh, Kirk, may not, I was going to say Kirk has the answers, but they come to you because at least they know either you can help or someone. It takes a lot, but I think one of the ways that helps, sometimes it helps, sometimes it can be dangerous, but like decompartmentalizing what's happening. So you are taking in what people are telling you, but you're not absorbing it. So rather than you have to be empathetic, but not sympathetic, because and people say, the difference with that is you're not sitting on crying with them, but you have to think of, okay, how can I help them? Where can I signpost them to? And you're doing that already, but it's the amount. So probably you need to have more of a team around you of people who can shield you from some of that, because especially where you are the face and you are the individual who is getting a lot of that, you need to have a boundary. Not everybody is coming to you, but you also have to, when you're in these kind of positions, you also have to make sure that you're taking time away for self, because when you look at what stress is pressure, and pressure is not a problem. Pressure could be good, it could be bad, but sometimes we can be motivated by pressure and it helps us do it. When pressure turns into stress is when we've got to the point where we don't feel, is the pressure that we're getting is more than we are able to cope with. When we feel out of control. So when it's getting too much, that's when we have to look at, okay, what systems do I need to put in place to try and get myself away from that? And that's literally what causes people to go into anxiety, depression, that kind of thing, because it's that feeling of being out of control. That's
Mhm.
what it is. And that's why different people can deal with different types of pressure, different, because everybody has different tolerance levels. So yeah, making self-care is very important.
Mhm.
People might sometimes roll their eyes when it comes to things like journaling, but the same way that people need to get out of their system what's happening from them, where you are the person who is taking on everybody's issues, you also have to get that stuff out of you as well. So, whether it's in the morning or the evening, just looking at what is my intentions for the day, what is happening for me today, how am I feeling today, and checking in with yourself as well, and having the people that you can trust to
Mhm.
speak to as well, because you have to have people in your corner that you go to, because as much as you're the person there that everybody's flocking to, there's stuff that you need too. So you need to have people in your corner that you can go with. Boy, it's been a long one. That call today was so difficult, blah blah blah. And okay, let's go have something to eat, or let's go. You have to have your release as well when it comes to
Mhm.
what's happening for you, because you got your own stuff plus everything that's coming your way.
Definitely.
Does
Now,
that
what?
help?
Yeah, no, it does, because it does take a toll on me,
Yeah.
and I don't want to ever close the door to
No.
helping people. Um, but as I say, I encourage people to learn and to study. I know that I need to brush up on the tools, know my limitations, and brush up on the tools to deal with it.
I
One of
was
the
just
things,
about to say that,
yeah.
knowing your limits as well.
Uh-huh. Now, one of the things you mentioned earlier, and I like to use personal examples because I like to relate to it. And in my first 12 years on this planet, I went through a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt, a lot of different things that no child should have
Yeah.
to experience. And I realized that it's only about 5 years ago I was able to let it go. Um, and I didn't realize that it had consumed most of my life.
Hmm.
That hurt, that trauma had consumed most of my life. And while a lot of people see me as a successful individual, I sometimes think, Lord, if I didn't have that weight on my back, I could imagine where I
Yeah.
would be now. So there
Yeah.
are a lot of adults, okay, walking around every day
Mm-hmm.
with childhood pain and trauma
Mm-hmm.
and anxiety that they haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
So, I'm saying this to say that there are a lot of adults toting a lot of baggage on their backs, and then they become parents and they don't have the tools to deal with it. You know, I know that's a whole conversation,
Yeah.
but as we say, how do we look inside? How do we know? Well, I don't even know how to phrase the question.
Yeah.
This is a
Because
conversation, you know? How do we even know that we need help?
there is a lot of childhood trauma.
Mhm.
And because we haven't had, many of us have never had the support to deal with it. And like you said, we go on and have children. And that's why sometimes there's a lot of dysfunctional parenting happening, because it's literally children, that child that was wounded from whatever age, 5, 6, 7, or even younger, and going up, that child hasn't been healed. You have grown adults who are walking around, and it's literally that child that's walking around,
Mhm.
and they don't know how to they haven't been able to heal themselves, and then they don't know how to help the child either. And which is the reason why as well, some people will say, oh, I'm just what's the word, I might just have a short fuse, or I don't take no nonsense from everybody. A lot of the times that's the child inside speaking, because that child was probably never heard, or that child was suppressed or whatever, or that child was beaten and wasn't able to express themselves. And so that short fuse that you're seeing is the hurt that they are now spilling onto other people. So I think many of us, if you realize, and there's some people that say, I'm a bull in a china shop, or I'm a this and I'm a that, you have to, when you realize that, even if you don't know what to call it, you have to start working from that space. because okay, what has made me like this? And there's many different things that you can do, and I spoke about journaling. There's things that's, you know, called mirror work, where you're literally sitting in front of a mirror and looking at yourself, because there's times where, and I don't know if this happened for you, where if you've gone through a very difficult patch, you can't even look yourself in the eye in the mirror. And it's because there's so much hurt that even if you did look, you might be in the mirror every day putting on your makeup or creaming yourself and whatever and getting ready, but you're not actually looking at yourself, because you know that if you look at yourself, you're going to fall apart. And when you can sit there and deal with that hurt of, this is what got me to this place when I was 7 years old, you know, this person did that to me, how did it make me feel? There's going to be a lot of tears, there's going to be a lot of pain, you might need to speak to somebody about what's happened, journal everything, just get I call it free writing as well, just get a notebook, a pen. And when people say, oh, what do I need to write, just write, put the pen in your hand, it will start moving. Sometimes it might make sense, sometimes it won't, but you're just dumping everything that's in there, because you have to start dealing with that stuff so that you can move forward. Because a lot of us are walking around, and whereas, you know, sometimes a little thing can cause a whole big argument, and it's just we haven't dealt with the pain for ourselves. And when somebody else says something to us that, you know, it might not even be a big thing, but we see it as another hurt, it's like that 7-year-old is getting hurt all over again. How dare you speak to me like that? And then we just explode on the person because we haven't dealt with it. So there is an individual responsibility that we have as well. So as much as, and that goes back to where you were saying, like, you're helping so many people. And this is where knowing your limits are and empowering other people as well. So because there's only so much, because you don't want them to become dependent on you. You also, as much as you want to help them, it's important that they sit down and figure out what's happening for them so that they can stand up and get past the hurt. Because if they always have you as a crutch to help them, they will never get past it. And it will always be, oh, let me call Kirk, let me do this. We all have that friend who, when we get on the phone, we feel drained, because it's the same story from 1965 that they're still speaking about. And every month or every week they come back with, oh, this is going on. It's like, oh, geez, here we are again. But it's about, you know, people, at some point, everybody has to take that individual responsibility for, yes, I was hurt. It was not my fault. And it's also not my business now to go on and hurt other people. How do I get past it? You will never, sometimes you will never get that apology that you think you deserve. But how do I get past not having that apology? How do I go past making sure that the same thing doesn't happen to my child? Yes, I have a short fuse and I don't want my child to be like that. So how do I start behaving and working on myself in such a way that they will look at me and be able to emulate that as they go forward? Because, you know, there's some things that pass through generations, and we have to make the decision as to whether it stops with us. You can't come from a whole bacchanal family and think that it's okay for that to be passed on and on, because, you know, society can't go on like that. So people have to take individual responsibility. And us as the people who are helping them also has to look at, how do I empower this person so that when I'm not there, they are able to think, okay, how did I deal with this? Or what are the things I could do? What can I reach back to and think of, okay, you know, this is similar to what's happened before, and help them move forward. Because the joy sometimes is not saying, oh, here, I got this for you. The joy is when the person comes and says, I came across this situation and I was able to deal with it, and it didn't hurt me as much as it did before. Or somebody spoke to me in a particular way, and you know what? I was able to combat it. Because even the people who might, you know, annoy you and they're speaking to you in a certain way, they're hurt too. And it's hurt meeting hurt, you know? So it's empowering people and helping. When you start to find the tools of how to speak to yourself as well, you help other people to move forward and help to speak positivity into their own lives as well. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can
It
you hear
kind of
me?
went a minute ago.
Okay, I
I can
don't know
hear you
what
now.
happened there. Okay,
Yeah, it just
no
kind of
problem.
went
Listen,
blank.
we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna wrap up with some final words. Folks,
Okay, great.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, listen, I don't know what happened with the break. I don't know if it's the
Yeah.
internet, what's going on. But listen, I appreciate you coming on this morning and sharing words of wisdom. Somebody listening to you this morning and wanting to reach out, what are your social media handles? How can someone reach out to you?
So I'm on Facebook as Rachel Charles, or if you look anywhere for me as Own Your Wings, that's the
Mhm.
name of my business. You'll be able to find me anywhere as Own Your Wings. And let me just say something about Own Your Wings quickly.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's this saying that, and the reason why I call it On Your Wings is because we all have skills, we all have experience. And sometimes, you know, when we want to do something, people say, you know, take the leap and grow your wings on the way down. And this is where talk about empowering people. We all have those skills, we all have those experiences. And we just have to believe in ourselves that it is possible for us to move from wherever we are, whatever state we are in, to the state that we want to be. So that's the long story to say you can find me on Your Wings, and that's the reason why it's called On
Okay.
Your Wings.
Listen, definitely. Listen, I enjoyed the conversation today. I feel empowered, and I hope some of the viewers would have felt empowered. Parting words. What would you like to see for people?
I would love to see people helping each other a bit more. We are all here, we are all connected. It doesn't matter, you know, you spoke about the different sides, the colors, and all that kind of nonsense. We are all here, and we are, you know, it doesn't take much to just ask somebody how they are. And, you know, if you see something that doesn't look right, either address it yourself or find somebody who can. Just think about it from your point of view, because a lot of the things that I'm seeing in the post is confidentiality. It takes the individual to take responsibility for that confidentiality. So if you know that you are dealing with things in confidence, then you be the person who goes out there and you surround yourself with people who are like that, so that when you are pointing people in the way, and you know, for interventions that they might need, you know that you are, the network of people that you have are those people who would be confidential as well, because you can't really help what other people will do, but you can help who you associate with. So, you know, just be mindful. We are all brothers, we're all and sisters, we are all connected. And, you know, it makes the world a better place if you are being mindful that everybody is going through something. And it's our job. We all want to be happy. And in order for me to be happy, I need to know that you're good too.
Agreed. Definitely. It's a two-pronged approach. Um, Listen, I want to thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for
I want
having me.
I want to thank you for the wealth of information you shared. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Some people are saying we need longer, we need more. Okay, and definitely we will have conversations again because there's so much to talk
I'm
about.
here if needed.
And when I look at your impressive resume, I know you've done it all. You know, all the different things affecting us. You know, from child abuse to everything that we're dealing with on a day-to-day in Grenada. We know that you have the skills. So I want to encourage you and congratulate you on taking the bull by the horn and doing your own thing, you know, a life coach and consultant. You're definitely not a stranger to the Ride Along Network, and now no stranger to the Wake Up Club.
Yes.
So I want to wish you a fantastic Friday. Is it Friday or is it Saturday?
It is Friday. It is Friday.
Okay.
And one of the things that you said about using my skills in Grenada, that's always been the idea. And
Okay.
one of the reasons why I went self-employed, not just because I wanted to be my own boss, I really wanted that, but also because it gives me the freedom to work from anywhere. So that was my main thing, because I picked up all of my skills in the gray UK, but my whole, everything that I've wanted to do was give back to Grenada. For me, that's home.
Definitely. Okay, folks, you're tuned into the Wake Up Club. We take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll wrap up.
It's time to do better. Beacon's Be Better Group Health Plan now offers new and improved options that make health insurance affordable for small to medium businesses. Good medical cover gives you a competitive edge and takes care of the people that take care of your business. Get a better plan to build a better business. Call Beacon or log on to beacon.co.tt for more info today.
Welcome back, folk. Of course, you're tuned into the Wake Up Club. It's a fantastic Friday in the Isle of Spice, Pure Grenada. A great show. Rachel Charles, wealth of information, wealth of skill, wealth of knowledge, so much words of wisdom to impart not only to you, but to me today. And of course, what I'm taking away is that, I need to also understand my limitations to how much I can do to make sure that I am also protecting my mental health. Now, I like to tell all you this, and I will say it again. A lot of you all like to say it's not in your job description to look out for your fellow man and to love your neighbor as yourself, but it is. I know sometimes it's difficult, but you've got to do the right thing. And as I challenge you at the beginning of this program, and I always do, today I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, reach out to somebody to touch base. It could be an email, it could be a WhatsApp, it could be a text message, it could be a phone call. Or if you have a relationship that you could just show up by the house, don't just show up by the people's house if you're not welcome, and you could show up at a person's house, check on somebody now, please. Remember the days when you used to bake a sweet bread and drop one for the neighbor? Do that now. We got to be better people. We like to say, goodness gracious Grenada. Let's make it true. Have a fantastic day. Have a safe, peaceful weekend. Protect your mental health and look out for each other. Bye.
Today. Located inside Rider Excursion at the Esplanade Mall, we handle both small and large orders with speed and precision. For fast, quality t-shirt printing, call Instaprint at 473-422-1011. Get your perfect print today at Instaprint. Printing done in an instant.
Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a e-bike today and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent a e-bike.